And I am the founder of an organization called Legacy31. And what we do is we offer faith-based support to any person being victimized by intimate partner violence. That could be domestic violence, that could also be sexual assault as well. How Legacy31 came to be is I grew up with my father as a pastor, but he was also very, very abusive to our family, and there was no support available for us. Of course, I grew up and I repeated the cycle. There was no support available. And what I ran into, I was often told that I needed to pray a little bit harder, I needed to submit just a little bit more, and not one time was I ever told to seek safety or here are some resources for you. I was told I needed to be a good Christian wife and support my husband. And so that, of course, ended very badly for me. So once I started becoming aware of the fact of this is domestic violence, this is not okay, God still loves me, I actually joined a church. And that was my first point of safety, was a church that I joined. And I was able to speak to the pastor of that church. And he asked me, because I was always told that if I left my husband, God wasn't going to be pleased, that I wasn't going to make it to heaven. And so that kind of concerned me because my relationship with God was very important to me. And so when I went to this church and I had a counseling session with the pastor, and he asked me to show him in the Bible where it said God would be upset with you if you left an abusive situation, and that opened up a world of possibilities to me. So the very next day, I filed for divorce. And since that, just since hearing God would still love me, I decided from that point on that I was going to do a lot of advocating for domestic violence. I worked in the domestic violence and sexual assault field for the last 12 years, dedicating a lot of time to getting resources available up until the point I started my own organization to be able to quietly go into a church and teach church leaders, the appropriate way to respond to someone dealing with domestic violence. Here are some resources for you. Here's a hotline number if you need safety. They'll safety plan with you. They'll do this. I'll go to court with you. I'll stand up with you. I'll do everything because I remember what it was to be in that situation, and I was told to pray. And so I often say, yes, although I believe in prayer and I believe that God is a miracle worker and he'll take you out of any situation, I also believe that I needed to hear that I needed to find safety. And so that's why Legacy31 became what it is today. We are founded on the scripture, Proverbs 31, she is clothed in strength and dignity, and she can laugh without fear of the future, because that's what it meant to me, being able to laugh and not fear anything while I was going through that transition. I placed some resources out there on the table, my business card, as well as a flyer that kind of outlines some of the services that we provide. It's me and my husband. He does the sexual assault side. He does a lot of prevention work in the field. So we came together and we have this agency where we're out helping people and we're trying to break the silence when it comes to domestic violence and sexual assault. Thank you.